Hello and welcome to Penalty on the Podcaster, the weekly NFL predicting podcast, except this week, not predicting anything because the Super Bowl is over and has been for quite a while, few days at the time of recording. But so, interesting episode today. It will just be review of the Super Bowl and some interesting announcements that you will definitely want to hear. So, before we head into that, this podcast is sponsored by Souls Auto Parts. If you need parts for your vehicle, Souls is the way to go. You can call them, email them, go to their in-person location. Reference my podcast, Penalty on the Podcaster, for a 10% discount on the auto parts you may need. And now let's get into it. Review of the Super Bowl. This was a fun Super Bowl to watch, and I was wrong in saying that the Eagles would win. However, I cannot be the only one who does not agree with the officiating there. Two important things with officiating. The Devonta Smith catch near the end of the first half that was overturned and forced the Eagles to settle for 3. I don't think that was a good call. You need clear and obvious evidence to overturn a call. There was nothing clear and obvious about that. 5 minutes and there still wasn't an angle that showed one way or the other. Since it was ruled a catch on the field, that should have stood. Eagles probably would have gotten 7 points with the way they were on fire the first half, despite the Jalen Hurts fumble. Jalen Hurts, by the way, played out of his mind. 3 rushing touchdowns, a passing one too. I think he did exceptionally well and broke the record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in the Super Bowl. So, incredible game by him. But also, the call that really impacted the game was... actually, before I get into that, I think I'm going to stay on the clear and obvious. I think that for a review like this, there should only be like a 3-minute time limit. Because past that, there's no way you can reasonably make up an excuse with, yeah, it was clear and obvious despite us looking at angles repeatedly for 5 minutes. 5+ minutes is like that's not clear and obvious. Sorry. But also the holding on, who was it? James Bradbury, I think it was. That was not really holding. Mahomes had his man in the end zone and overthrew him. A bit of a jersey grab, maybe. Restricting Juju Smith-Schuster's motion and reducing his chances of getting the ball? Absolutely not. Just a ridiculous call. It was weak. Ticky-tacky penalty. The Chiefs are illegitimate champions on this one. Must be soul-crushing for the Eagles. And unfortunately, same goes with the AFC Championship. The double third down. The ticky-tacky pass interference that wasn't. Missed holding on the play of the game that put the Chiefs in field goal range for the game winner in the AFC Championship. The refs walked the Chiefs through the AFC Championship and Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, if both of those calls were called correctly, then you have very likely Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, 4th and 8, down by 4 inside the 2-minute warning. They gotta go for it. Or maybe they could do an onside kick. But also, even if they get the first down or the touchdown, they cannot burn clock, and they could watch the Eagles march down the field, kick a game-tying field goal, or win the whole thing with a touchdown, which is very likely with the way the Eagles were performing. So, really just bad officiating walked the Chiefs through the Super Bowl. It was entertaining, but definitely mangled by the officiating. The the Bengals should have won the AFC Championship and the Eagles should have won the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. And if the Eagles had won like they should have, Jalen Hurts for MVP, come on. Who can argue that? But yeah, he technically did outduel Mahomes. The thing that surprised me most was Mahomes not passing as much. Failure of the Eagles' pass rush plus how good the Chiefs' offensive line was. And yeah, just like Hurts definitely did better than Mahomes despite whatever bad officiating there was. Hurts is also on a rookie contract. He won't be for very long. He will be extended and be paid a hefty sum. But still, for a guy on a rookie contract getting paid way less than Mahomes, you are like going to the Super Bowl, playing better than him despite the one fumble, and even deserving to win if it weren't for botched officiating. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is the real deal here. Yeah. Now the part I'm excited about. So, the Super Bowl is over. Off-season begins. That sucks. No more NFL. Nothing to predict. And I'm out of a job for 6 months. Right? Wrong. 3 new podcasts coming your way. Introducing Penalty on the Podcaster Overtime. Predicting the XFL and eventually the USFL. Week by week for those. And also introducing Penalty on the Podcaster Channel 0 off-season news report will be monthly, hopefully. Yes, it will be monthly. I'll try to stick to that. And Penalty on the Podcaster, I just want to talk. No real schedule to that one. That's just me talking about stuff I want to talk about or that I find interesting. Spoiler alert, the first one's going to be the Broncos Russell Wilson situation. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So, 3 new shows. This is going to be really, really interesting. It would be a nice off-season. The XFL is back, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that kicks off Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. No Los Angeles team, so I'm kind of upset. But there are other ones. Go Vegas, I guess. Yeah, Southwest. But, yeah, so... Well, I'll have to get the first Penalty on the Podcaster Overtime episode out quick. So that will all be available on the Penalty on the Podcaster, like, Spotify page thing. But in the title, it will let you know that if it's Penalty on the Podcaster or Penalty on the Podcaster Overtime or Penalty on the Podcaster Channel 0 or Penalty on the Podcaster I Just Want to Talk. It will all be under the MBF Productions YouTube page. Yeah, if you weren't aware, I have a YouTube. Go check me out there. If you are there, please give a like and subscribe. Costs nothing. You can always undo it. There's really no reason not to. But yeah, that will be there. Different playlists for like seasons and shows and all that. So it will be very, very interesting. So yeah, this podcast, by the way, available on YouTube and Spotify. I should have said this earlier in the episode. But if you're on one platform, the link for the other will be in the description. If you want to have the link, it will be in the description. So I mean, that's really it. I'm really excited. New shows. I'm so glad the XFL and USFL are here so that I don't have to spend 6 months without watching football. Yeah, that would not be very fun. But, here we go. Also, FCF. It's arena football, but it's still kind of interesting. Yeah, so, I guess that's really the episode. Big announcement. So, look out for those 3 new shows. The first, I just want to talk, and overtime episodes will be coming out very, very soon. Yeah, so stay tuned for those. And the Channel Zero episode, the first one will probably be like the end of February, like beginning of March, somewhere near that. Basically, free agent signings, coach signings, and rumored trades. I will say this, though, because that will be very stale news by the end of the month. But if you haven't heard, Derek Carr has used his no-trade clause to reject any trade that the Raiders want to give him. He will be released by the team very shortly, if he hasn't already been released. But the team really messed up this situation with the most solid quarterback they've had in a while. Like one of the best quarterbacks in Raiders history all time, without a doubt. They really messed that situation up. But the team is expected to release him and be on the hook for $40 million in guaranteed money. He is expected to sign somewhere as a top free agent. He has visited the Saints, and he is likely to go to the Saints, where I think they'll be true contenders because they have a great defense. They have Alvin Kamara, who is probably going to get suspended. Weren't there charges brought against him? Doesn't he have to go to court, Alvin Kamara? Maybe. I don't know. That news came out a while ago. But Alvin Kamara, defense, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, where he'll have to try really hard to not do very well. So there you go. Derek Carr situation. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, even though there's not really much to enjoy. It was just an announcement. And yeah, you'll hear more of me next episode, which will be Penalty on the Podcast or Overtime. Thank you for listening.